Hey everyone! Today we are blasting through all of January 2026's biggest headlines to create the ultimate cheat sheet for your next quiz. Let's get you ready to absolutely crush it.
So if you've got a current affairs test on the horizon, you are in exactly the right place. Over the next few minutes, we're going to cover all the key names, dates, and policies from January that are pretty much guaranteed to pop up. Ready? Let's dive in.
First up, what was happening on the national stage? We're going to start with the major domestic events and anniversaries from January that you absolutely positively need to know.
Right off the bat, here's a key number to remember. This January, India celebrated its 77th Republic Day. This is just a foundational fact for any current affairs quiz, so go ahead and lock that number in your brain.
Okay, beyond just the number, there are two other details you want to remember. The theme was 150 years of Vande Mataram. And the chief guests, well, they were Ursula von der Leyen and Antonio Costa, the presidents of the European Commission and Council. You're definitely going to want to remember those names.
Now, for the Parade Awards, these are classic quiz questions. So here are the three winners you need to know. The Indian Navy took home Best Marching Contingent, Maharashtra won for Best State Tableau, and the Ministry of Culture got the award for its tableau. Simple, clear, and very, very testable.
And beyond the parade, there was a major historical commemoration this month, the Somnath Swabhiman Parv. This event marked a full millennium, 1,000 years since the first recorded attack on the temple. It's a really interesting connection between a current cultural event and some very deep history.
Next up, let's talk about policies in progress. This section is all about the new laws, government initiatives, and national projects that were making headlines all through January.
So, the PESA Act was in the news, It's all about extending panchayat provisions to scheduled areas. But what's the key takeaway for your quiz? The state you need to remember is Maharashtra. They were ranked #1 for implementation this year.
Okay, now this is a huge one, a real landmark moment in Indian law. Uttarakhand became the very first state since independence to implement a uniform civil code. This is a big deal because it's all about standardizing personal laws for every citizen, no matter their religion. This is a very, very likely exam question.
All right, get ready for a rapid-fire round of India's firsts from this month. We became the first to commercially produce biobitumen for roads. We launched the first ever Vande Bharat sleeper train. We officially surpassed China to become the world's largest rice producer. And we inaugurated the first fully paperless district court in Wayanad. Wow, that is a lot of progress packed onto one slide.
And here's a simple but super memorable fact. The Aadhaar system has a brand new mascot, and its name is Uday. Easy to remember, and that's an easy point on a quiz.
All right, let's switch gears and talk about the people who are making news. This section is all about the key appointments and the major award winners you'll need to recognize.
So the Padma Awards were announced, with 131 honors given out in total. But for your exam, you really want to focus on that top tier. As you can see, there were just 5 Padma Vibhushan awards. So let's see who received them.
And here are the 5 winners. You'll definitely want to remember these names. Veteran actor Dharmendra, jurist K.T. Thomas, the violinist N. Rajam, scientist P. Narayanan, and veteran politician V.S. Achyutanandan.
Here's a key government appointment you'll want to file away. Pravin Vashishta is the new Vigilance Commissioner in the CVC. That's a really important role in a critical anti-corruption body.
Hopping over to the world of sports, here are your Australian Open champions. Carlos Alcaraz took the men's singles title, and Elena Rybakina won the women's singles. Pretty straightforward facts for the sports section of your quiz.
Okay, now let's zoom out a bit. This section covers India's role on the world stage during January. We're talking key agreements, summits, and global declarations.
This was a major development in trade. The negotiations for the India-EU Free Trade Agreement were finally concluded. The really crucial point here is the massive shift from having all these tariff barriers to now having preferential access, which covers almost all of our trade value with the bloc. This is a real game changer for the economy.
Looking ahead a bit, India is all set to host the 2026 BRICS Summit. And this is especially significant because it also marks the 20th anniversary of the group's formation. So that's kind of like a double dose of importance right there.
And here is a classic quiz question, straight from the UN. 2026 has been officially declared the International Year for Rangelands and Pastoralists. Go ahead and make a note of that theme.
Okay, we have covered a lot of ground at a very high speed. So now it's time for a quick fact check to see what stuck. Let's see if you're ready.
First question for you. We mentioned a huge legal change. So which state became the first one to implement a uniform civil code?
And question number 2, what was the official theme for this year's 77th Republic Day celebration? And for our final thought, let's look beyond the quiz for a second. Of everything we just talked about, the UCC, that new trade deal, all those national firsts, which one do you think will have the most lasting impact on India's future? It's a great question to think about. Thanks for joining me.